So I just got this article written by my mother shortly before her death from cancer in 1970. So it was 2 days after her birthday, I think her 40th birthday, that she died of cancer. I was not yet 4 years old, and she wrote this story. It was published in the Seventh-day Adventist publication, The Australian Record, on January 1972. This lump will have to come out, the doctor said kindly. My mind raced. This little lump, I thought. Why, it's not much bigger than a pea, and I feel so well. Surely there can be nothing wrong. The doctor continued, if it is malignant, the whole breast will have to come off. And this is a copy of the one book my mother published. It's a book of inspirational Christian children's stories, fireside stories by my mother, Gwen M. Ford. She writes here, I walked from the doctor's office done. Next came breaking news to my husband, and later still to tell our 8-year-old daughter, that's my sister Elaine, and 6-year-old son, my brother Paul, my need to go to hospital. The lump proved malignant. During my hospitalization, the fact that I had or had had cancer would not make me dismal for more than a moment. So close and real was the presence of Christ. Instead, my life seemed filled with blessings. I left the hospital rejoicing, never doubting that cancer for me was finished forever. So this is very quintessential Seventh-day Adventist and Christian talk about, rejoicing in the presence of Christ and counting your blessings, and kind of that upbeat focus on God, and the next world is the true world. Well, Jews tend to be much more centered on this world, therefore they perhaps feel, certainly express pain more intensely, because this world is what matters from a Jewish perspective. Then 2.5 years later came vomiting, consistent and persistent and uncontrollable. There were hospital tests, plenty of them, and then afterwards the verdict. It was bone cancer in the ribs and hips and spine. There was no known cure. My husband broke the news to me through a Bible reading, which was used of the Spirit of God to take away shock and fear. So I was about 1 year old at this point. So my dad would lead devotions morning and evening, where he'd read a chapter or two from the Bible, and he would often focus it on some point of contention or something that was going on in our lives. So my mother writes, 2 years have come and gone since then, and I would not care to contemplate the details of that time. It's like looking back upon a nightmare. There have been months of hospitalizations, months upon months of separation from husband and family. Several nursing friends in distant places endeavored to bring me back to health. Mostly it has meant confinement to bed, inability to walk, pain, innumerable vomitings, consequent reduction to virtually a skeleton. I think she went down to about 50 or 60 pounds. She was about 5'2". Several times death seemed certain. My mother writes, in health we are so prone to rely upon ourselves and our own powers to achieve, and not to realize how useless our human efforts really are without God. Stripped of my ability to walk and work, I'm constantly thrown upon the divine power. So resources before untapped are now opened up. With so much apparently gone, I appreciate better, find how very much more is really left. Family takes on a new preciousness after all the separation. The sunny morning, the scenes of nature all mean more to me now. When illness came, I found friends springing up everywhere. Their prayers and kindnesses brought cheer and comfort to the sickbed. If family and friends could be so kind, how much more our Heavenly Father, whose goodness we so faintly mirror. So this idea that God is so awesome, so great, so holy, so wonderful, and we are just dust and ashes. This is how Christians speak and think. I feel very awed, grateful, and rich when I consider what the Lord has done for me. The Lord has given me this message and a wonderful husband, turned my life into a heaven. So I remember reading this essay and reading this book of short stories, like looking for messages for my life from my mother. And the messages all seem to be the same. They all seem to be a good Christian.